Avinash, your first read in terms of the numbers. Puneet does tell us across parameters, it seems the net profit revenue and the margin front, the numbers are absolutely in line with what the street was estimating.
Yeah, I think numbers are in line. I think both on the top line front as well as on the EBITDA margin front. I think what is promising is that both the passenger car business and the farm equipment business has shown strong volume growth. And I think now going forward, markets would like to await what is the management commentary, especially on the electric vehicle product segment, where several new products have been launched by the company. So I think in all, the markets are satisfied that, despite the challenging period for the auto sector, I think numbers have come in much better than the street expectations. And hopefully, the fourth quarter will also be equally good, typically because the Jan to March quarter is always considered to be a bumper quarter for auto companies. So I think net, the stock should react positively on these numbers.
I hope I'm audible to you. I just had one question. How are you seeing, the current market in this particular aspect? Because we are seeing M&M coming in line with estimates, and Maruti had also done well. How do you see the current move by, the income tax also has been, been one of the key aspects that up to 12 lakhs there will be no income tax. Do you see M&M being one of the clear beneficiaries, or do you see, car makers like Maruti as well as Hyundai who have a smaller car portfolio as well to be larger beneficiaries of this income tax benefit?
No, I think, the reduction in tax for people who have got income up to 12 lakh rupees is not going to drive, vehicle sales in the luxury or the higher end categories. Typically, I would say that, this kind of benefit is largely going to be enjoyed by the two-wheeler kind of companies, because where the ticket size is much less. So the tax cut for people earning up to 12 lakh rupees is not going to be significantly impacting demand for the luxury vehicles. But still, I would believe that, these are aspirational kind of, vehicles which most customers always migrate from a lower end vehicle. So, definitely in the medium to long term, demand, in the luxury segment will also grow. But specifically, what the budget has done is going to spur demand, especially in low-ticket two-wheeler kind of products, where the mass market is a very huge market. I don't think that's going to be a market where Mahindra and Mahindra will obviously get a major share out of this.
Right. So Avinash, overall, when you talk about the EV segment as well, the kind of launches that they've come up with, at least in the third quarter, they were one of the best, in fact, the highest clocking in terms of sales. How are you seeing the trajectory with regards to market share?
No, I think, clearly, Mahindra has invested a lot of capital on technology, on product development on the electric vehicle sector. And I think clearly, it's going to be a matter of time. The market is competitive, but I think, if the product is priced competitively, if the product is actually does pretty well on the road, then I think gradually, electric vehicles for Mahindra and Mahindra are going to be a clear focus area. The management has also mentioned very clearly that they're going to invest a lot of time and money on this segment, because this is one segment where they believe that over the next, say, 3 to 5 years, growth could be quite significant. But I think it's going to be a slow kind of, progress and a slow wait. So we'll have to wait how the new products which have been launched actually do and how they are accepted, by the customers. But I think looking at the ground reality and the ground kind of feedback, these products definitely seem to be much better than competition. So I think it's, going to be a couple of quarters before we get to know how successful Mahindra will be in the EV space.
And Avinash, I just had one question, on the compact SUV space as a whole. We have seen that roughly from 6 lakh to 15 lakh, that segment has been growing very well. Now, M&M had introduced the 3XO in May of 2024, and that has been driving the growth along with the Thar. Do you see any kind of benefit or, further launches also in this particular core category? Because we've seen competition from Hyundai as well with the Exter and the Venue. And Maruti, of course, has a plethora of products between the 6 to 10 lakh range. Any kind of outlook do you have in this particular segment of compact SUVs?
No, I think, Mahindra will definitely like to consolidate its market share. But I think, as you rightly mentioned, there are many products available in this segment. So competition is also equally fierce. And, obviously, getting the right volume share in this segment is very important, because margins are going to come under pressure because almost every manufacturer is trying to bite into this segment. So my sense is, yes, I think this is a growing market, a growing segment where customers get value for money. But I think you'll have to wait and watch as to what kind of pricing Mahindra gives for the vehicle, because, that is going to finally decide what kind of volume growth they can expect here.
Right, Avinash, when you talk about pricing as well, at least with regards to the EV, it's on the higher end from what they've announced yesterday. Do you think that will be a deterrent? And if so, what would be your call? What would you advise investors to do with an M&M?
So I think on a medium-term to long-term basis, we have been advising our clients to accommodate Mahindra and Mahindra as a diversified player both on the farm equipment and the passenger car segment. Mahindra has positioned itself pretty well. Most importantly, in the electric vehicle space, they've been they've been taking a very conscious and a very cautious kind of approach. But as you rightly said, EVs are not going to drive the growth immediately. It will take at least a couple of years before they get a decent market share. And I think unless and until the government also announces some major tax relief, some incentives, customers are also a little wary of buying electric vehicles because the initial capital cost is quite high. So my sense is, the initial IC products only will drive the volume growth initially. And of course, depending on how markets take these electric vehicles, because unless and until we see some moderation in prices, only then the volumes will grow. Until then, it's going to be a very niche market where I think, margins could come in, but I think volumes will still take a long time.
Right. So overall, that's going to be an interesting move with regards to M&M. But now if you see the stock, uptick of around 2% coming in there. So yes, a positive reaction in terms of the stock price. If you see in the last 6 months as well, 19 to 20% is the kind of returns that we've seen. But yes, it's been a pretty volatile ride for the counter. Almost, a multi-bagger in the making, because 86% is the kind of returns that we've seen in the last 1 year as well with regards to where M&M goes. But completely